In this video, I'm going to go through and show you how to use the timeline and do timeline editing with VideoMotion Pro. So the first thing I want to do is go and grab some media content, and I've got a video over here. I'm going to grab this one, and maybe I'll grab some extra footage as well. Let's just select this, and we may use this on the timeline. So the first thing I want to do is add my media directly onto the timeline. So you want to drag and drop it onto the timeline from the media folder. Now all the editing we do will be done on the timeline, and we can also edit it on the preview panel as well, but the main editing will be done on the timeline. So let me just go through and show you some things that we can do. So if you want to go ahead and deselect this so you don't see it on the preview, you can click on that button. And this is helpful sometimes when you're using other footage and you want to kind of deselect it so you can see what's underneath. Okay, another thing you're about to see right now is we can go ahead and zoom out of the timeline by clicking on this button over here. And we can zoom into the timeline by double clicking and going through to the furthest part over here on the timeline. You'll also be able to see that we have a thumbnail preview of the scenes of the video and the audio waveform as well of this video. So what I want to do is go ahead and make some cuts, and I'll show you how to do that. So if you want to cut an area out of the video, maybe you want to cut out this area over here, this part here, what you do is simply drag the time indicators to the area that you want to deselect over here. And this area between these two time indicators, when you select the track, click on this scissors tool, it will basically cut out this area here. Now if I make a mistake and I want to go back, what I can do is simply click on this undo cut item button, and that will undo that cut. Another thing that we can do as well is when we want to go ahead and split these tracks, we can bring the time indicator where we want to split it, and maybe we want to split it from this part here, and I want to move myself maybe into the center of the screen. So what I'll do is click on this track and then click on the split tool, and you'll be able to see it splits these tracks into two tracks, okay? So what I can do now is just move this time indicator over to this part of the track, and I'm going to go ahead and click and hold down shift and drag this out so that I can kind of make it zoom into myself a bit more and make myself a bit closer to the camera, I guess. So let's just drag this across a bit more, maybe make it even a little bit bigger. And you can see how it kind of zooms into myself. This is a quick way that you can kind of create a zoom effect. So let's just go ahead and play that and see what it looks like.
It's a revolutionary web-based.
You can see how quickly it just zooms in like that. And you can go ahead and just do this a few times, and it's really good to kind of keep it more dynamic in your video. So I'm going to split this one again, bring the time indicator over here, and just drag this back up. And that's looking good. Cool, so that's how you can go ahead and split your tracks and work around with that. Maybe for some of the video you want to go ahead and add on some video footage on top. I'm going to go ahead and split this. And what you can also do if you want to delete anything off the timeline, depending if you're on a Windows or a Mac and the type of keyboard system you have. If you're on a Mac, you can hit Fn and backspace, and that will delete that track. If you're on a Windows, you can hit delete, I'm sure, or backspace, and that will delete the track. And then what you can do is go ahead and just drag this up. Maybe you're talking about ideas, and you can go ahead and add some footage
Video and social media.
like so. Now another thing that you want to notice, which is very, very important, is whatever is on top, the top track will show above the tracks underneath. So this is really important for when you're adding on lower third animations. I'm just going to split that again and delete this. You're about to see over here.
Video and social media marketing application.
Like that. So this is a cool way you can add on some different types of footage. So when I'm adding a lower third animation, let me just go ahead and show you how that works. So you click on lower third, add lower third, and you can go ahead and select the type of lower third you want. Maybe this one here looks pretty cool. Let's go ahead and change this one up. So I'm just going to call this one Josh Rada, creator of VideoMotion Pro. And let's go and just type in videomotionpro.com. Cool, so what I'll do is go ahead and make this text a little bit smaller because it's kind of tight on that text space. Let's have a look at this now. Okay, it's looking good, and I'm going to go ahead and add my logo. Let's just select this one here, click open, and that will update. I'm going to add this to my timeline now, okay? So you have to see now that I've added this lower third to the timeline, and you have to see you can't actually see it right now on the video. Now this is because the lower third is underneath of this track here, so it's actually behind this video. So what we need to do is click and drag this up, just move this across, and I'm just gonna, whoops, let's just drag it across like that. You can also go ahead and just drag these tracks down so you can work with multiple tracks, and this helps to make it more organized on the timeline if you got, for example, 3 pieces of media, okay? So this one's going to go, maybe place this one over here. I'll drag this to the front, and I'll drag this down, this lower third down here. And you'll be able to see right now we have a nice looking lower third animation. Looks really pro. Okay, so I'm just going to resize that, and you'll be able to see right now that we can see the lower third. Let's go ahead and preview this.
Right here, and I'm really excited because we're just about to release our revolutionary web-based video and social media marketing.
Cool. So that's how you work with the timeline. You can also add on fade effects. So for example, if I want to fade this video so that it kind of fades out, what I would do, you can see my track here. What I would do is drag this time indicator and over this whole track so that I can just see a little part at the end. And this is basically deselecting this area. So the fade effect won't be applied to this area that's being deselected between these two time indicators. Now when I select this track and I click on fade, you'll be able to see it instantly adds on that fade out effect over here. And that's because it's been added outside this area that's been deselected, okay? So if I go ahead and play this through, another thing you can do is hit escape on the keyboard, and that will bring these two time indicators back together. So if you use the escape tool, it brings them back together like that. So I'm going to click play on this and show you this.
With VidInfusion.
Cool. So you can see how it fades out. And yeah, that's how you create a fade out effect. And the same thing you can do if you want to create a fade in and a fade out effect. What you would do is drag these two time indicators, and the area that's deselected over here won't be applied, but you can see there's a little part of the track over here, and if I click on fade, you'll be able to see it instantly adds that on there as well. So you can kind of adjust this. Maybe if you want to make it more of a fade in and more of a fade out, just simply select like that. And if you want to go ahead and actually remove the fade, what you do is just simply drag it out again and click on that button. You can also use the undo button as well to take off that fade effect, okay? So let's go ahead and look at this.
With VidInfusion.
Okay, cool. So this is our fade out effect. So that's the kind of basics to using the timeline. You can go ahead and zoom out, you can zoom into the timeline, you can cut tracks, you can split tracks, you can add fade effects, and you can redo and undo things. And the main thing is knowing that each of these tracks has different levels. So basically whatever's on top will show, and when you're adding lower thirds, you want to make sure that the lower third is on the top track, or at least on the track above your main video footage. So that's how you go ahead and edit things on the timeline.